to Talking Business with Beverly. I am your host and business strategist, Beverly Walthour. And so thank you so much for joining us as we support you, the entrepreneur, in creating time and financial freedom in your business. And so we do this by not only addressing your business needs, but also your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial needs as well. And now join me in welcoming Cleedra Gross to the show. Hello, Cleedra. How are you?
Hello, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And so Cleedra is a master life coach. We're going to talk about what she means by the word master life coach. And so I brought Cleedra on just to speak with us about living our life fully in freedom and all of this stuff. And so Cleedra, before we actually dive into the conversation, I love to play this game with my guests where I ask them 3 random questions.
Okay.
So Cleedra, are you game to play the game?
I'm game.
Okay, so Cleedra, if you could be any animal, what would you be?
A dog.
A dog. Oh, why a dog?
I love dogs.
She was gonna say
I
something.
didn't even hesitate.
Majestic,
I love dogs.
Okay. And where is, what's your favorite vacation spot?
Aruba.
Oh, I
Yes.
love it. And are you a morning person or a night owl?
Morning.
Oh, see, just
4
like you
a.m.
know.
Yes.
That is so ungodly. She said 4 a.m. What we're not doing, I'm rolling and wiping drool at 4 a.m. Okay, you know what? So, Cleedra, let's go ahead and dive on into this conversation. So, you are a master life coach. First of all, what do you, I heard of life coaches, but what do you mean when you say master life coach?
So master is actually documented 10,000 hours. So that's exactly what that means. So I have documented 10,000 hours with clients.
So she knows what she's doing. Okay. And
Absolutely.
so, kind of talk to us, how did you get into the arena of life coaching?
I got into the arena of it because my life had fallen apart at the time. Yes. I was one of those, I don't know if you can relate with the checklist, college, marriage, all that, and then it all fell apart. I went through a divorce and just a painful time and wrestled to put that back together, and a life coach came to my company. I was still working at the time, and so I hired her.
Wow.
And it changed my life. And then I wanted to do that for women.
I love it. I love
Yes.
it. I love it. And so what is your mission? Like for you as a life coach, because you mentioned women, so I'm assuming you support women. So what is your
Absolutely.
mission as a life coach?
My mission for women is to help them ultimately understand that it all is working together for their good. And so it's Romans 8:28. I was born on 8:28. And I know my mission is we go through difficult things and a lot of us get stuck. And so it's through intentional thinking that I show them that it all ultimately is working for their good.
But hold on, Cleedra, because you mentioned divorce, and so I don't understand how the divorce is for my good, the kids running off acting crazy. How is that? I don't understand how that's for my good. But
Exactly.
you walk them through and show them.
Absolutely. And my baby didn't make it. So not only am I telling you something from a place of, I went on to get married again, but I didn't have any children. And so I have seen God make it all work together for my good. It doesn't mean it is good.
Okay.
Or that it
there we
feels
go.
good. It doesn't feel good. And the circumstances aren't good, but it can work together for your good.
Gotcha. And so with you, the ladies that come to you, what's usually, is there a trigger moment that causes them to say, you know what, Cleedra, I can't do this? Like, is there usually one thing in particular? that's going on?
Usually people come to me because of weight. Because when I started my practice, I needed to lose 70 pounds, and I did it publicly on Facebook.
Oh.
Yes. And so that's usually the trigger. And they're like, Cleedra, what are you doing? How are you being so consistent? But once we get beneath it, the weight, money, all those things are just symptoms. I like to work on the cause.
I love that.
Yes.
Okay, so they come to you because of the symptoms. So that's
That's
they're
one
like,
of
hey,
the symptoms, yes.
So either this person not acting right, I need you to fix them,
That's
or
right.
hey, I got this extra weight on, I need to get rid of this.
Right. Or I hired a coach and I'm not doing anything she tells me. They'll hire someone amazing and they're not doing the work. They're inconsistent and they're frustrated by that. Just overall, at the end of the day, they feel unfulfilled.
Gotcha. So that unfulfillment, so that longing for something different,
Yes.
something more.
That's exactly right.
That makes sense.
Exactly
Okay.
right.
And so now I'm like, okay, Cleedra, fix me. What you gonna do? Once I come to you, I'm like, I need you to fix me. What does it look like to work with you?
Well, first of all, I don't believe any woman needs to be fixed.
I love it.
I believe you are perfect in the eyes of God and you do not need to be fixed. I believe that's what this society has told us, that we need to fix our weight, our money, our marital status. I don't believe you need to be fixed. I believe you need to be in touch. And so with that is listening to yourself instead of silencing yourself. And so I use this tree to show my ladies that everything you create in your life, I want you to look at it like fruit. Every result is like fruit. And most practices focus on just the symptom, these results. And the branches are like actions, okay? Beneath the actions is the trunk of the tree. I call those the feelings.
Okay, so the feelings of the trunk.
You got it.
Okay.
But really, the base of it are circumstances, right? And so I just want to unpack the whole thing. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So we have circumstances in our life, and they are basically things we can't control, and we're planted in those circumstances.
Okay.
Right above that soil are your thoughts. That's really the point of power. And whatever you think is how you will feel. That's the trunk of the tree. Those are your feelings. Those feelings then lead to the branches, which are your actions. So when you're not being consistent, it really goes down to, everything begins with a thought. But most of us start to change the actions. Go work out, drink the water, do all that. And that's why it doesn't work long term. Because you never got to the cause. To the root cause. So I do what's called causal life coaching. I get to the cause. I don't treat the symptoms, the weight, the money, the man, whatever it is that my ladies want. I look at what are they thinking. Yes.
So for a lot of your women, how did they get to that place though? Is it something that stems from childhood? Was it like how do they usually get to that place where, and you even mentioned a little bit earlier, where as society we look at what we need to be fixed, but how did they get into that space where, either they had the excess weight, the relationships are falling apart? Like what's usually going on that triggers those things?
Usually we adopt thoughts as women. And what I mean by that is, if you're the oldest, you have adopted the thought that you're supposed to be the responsible one. We adopt thoughts that we're supposed to be married by a certain time, and when we're not married by that time, we think something's wrong. We need to be fixed. If we don't have a child by a certain time, then something's wrong. And all of these thoughts are adopted from society. And so I take my ladies through, what do you really believe? Because usually women have two tracks. It's what they say on the outside, and then it's what they say really on the inside. And they usually are not the same.
So once again, you're going to help us get down to the root of this.
I'm going to help you get down to the root of it. And a lot of times, ladies are arguing with their circumstances. That if I hadn't had a divorce, if the baby hadn't, if I had gotten married, all of that. But I show them that circumstances are really neutral emotionally. They're neutral.
Okay.
They only become charged, or we get angry or frustrated with them as we're planted in them and we have a thought that it should not have happened. Yes. So I show my ladies how accepting, first of all, that what you cannot change, accepting that it is all working together for your good, and then intentionally thinking, what do I want to think now to create the results that I really desire in my life?
Okay, so once again, change your thoughts. We're not trying to change the actions because
we will change the actions, but we want to start first with the thought. So for example, I have some ladies who will come to me, they have heard my story of how I met my husband online, and I made a spreadsheet and dated 40 men, but by the time I was 40.
Wait, hold on. You can't just brush through that story. No, you did a spreadsheet, but I'm taking notes. You did a spreadsheet, 40 by 40, what now?
When I was finally ready to start dating again, I realized, okay, I have to get out there. And by that time, the last time I had dated, we were still carrying beavers.
Oh,
so I hit me on my page.
You're like, look, not to date myself, but not to date myself, showing my age. Okay.
So I had no idea, and I was building my coaching practice, and I thought, well, how can I still meet people? So I'm like, I'll do it virtually. And so women know this story, and I ultimately met my husband like that, and they're like, well, but it's what I had to think. So every time I was stood up or someone ghosts me, I didn't think like a lot of women, oh, there are not enough men out here, all the good ones are gone. No, I refuse to adopt that thought. I refuse. So that's an example of sometimes women want the result of marriage, but when we really work together, they don't really believe that it's possible.
Oh. So once again, that what you call a root cause?
The root cause.
There we go.
That's
Okay. So please, this is good. Hold on, because I'm going to give you a husband by the time she gets finished. So please, we're going to continue this conversation right after these messages. Hello and welcome back to Talking Business with Beverly. And so before the break, we were speaking with Please Your Growth. She is a master life coach. And so one thing that she was talking about, she has a lovely tree over here as the analogy, but it was really poignant what you were saying as far as getting to the root cause of whatever issue is going on in our lives and kind of digging past the surface, because that's what a lot of us do. We put Band-Aids on situations.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so now following your analogy, so you said we have the circumstances that are in life, like things that just, things happen in life.
Yes.
And so I love when you said we tie the emotion to that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I'm coming to you and you're now helping me. Like, how do you actually support me when it comes to getting me to start changing my thoughts?
Okay, so the first thing we do is we unpack what your current thoughts are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I call this literally my thought tree,
Mm-hmm.
because your thoughts create your fruit, and we're known by our fruit.
Yes.
And so if you were coming to me, the first thing I'd want to know is, Beverly, what exact fruit do you want to create in your life? We have to get really specific.
So what do I want to see?
What result do you want to create in your life?
Okay.
We get really, really clear on that. And then I talk to you about what are you currently doing? Because that's where most of my clients have focused on, the action.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they're usually inconsistent with the action. and they sabotage the actions. And so those actions, though, really stem from a thought. The root cause is a thought down here. And so if you want to give me a specific result, and I can walk you through an exact example of how I would do it if they want.
So if I say that I want to lose 20 pounds.
Okay.
So I want to lose 20 pounds.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I would say, Beverly, what have you done in the past to do that?
Well, I walk 2 days a week.
2 days a week. Walk 2 days a week.
About 10 minutes. 2 days a week. I should lose that, right? I should lose the 20 pounds, right?
Okay. Okay. I'm just asking what are your actions.
So I'm walking and I drink water.
Okay. Okay, but it hasn't worked. It's not creating.
It's not working.
It's not
It's
creating.
really not.
And so, what are your thoughts about losing the weight? I know you want to lose the weight, but what are your true thoughts?
Sometimes I feel like it's hard. Like
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard.
And
It's
then
hard.
plus I gotta give up my fried chicken.
Maybe
From my
deprivation.
food, yes.
You feel
Because
deprived.
I can't eat what I want to eat.
Exactly. Okay, so then we would look at those two thoughts. So let's just take one of them that you're thinking, I'm gonna have to give up my fried chicken. And so when you think I have to give up my fried chicken, how does that make you feel?
Well, I don't want to do it because I like it.
You don't want to do it. You don't. This is key. I want your viewers to really get this. The feeling that thought creates is, I don't want to do it. And so when you are carrying a feeling of I don't want to do it, how inspired are you to take the action that you want to take? You're not.
Yeah, I'm not going to,
You're not. And a lot of times we don't get that that's really, we try to just suppress that. Or most trainers will tell you, just put your head down, you got to do it. That does not work. So we have to look at, why do you really want to lose those 20 pounds? What's beyond just the weight? What will it create in your life? So that then we can get to the point where you see deprivation as having the chicken. Because you're depriving yourself of what you ultimately want to experience in your body. So I don't focus so much on the number and what you're losing, but the life you're gaining.
That makes sense. And so you mentioned a word, I think that was huge. You mentioned sabotage.
Yes.
What does that look like? Like, how does it show up? So for instance, even if we use the same thing with the weight loss.
Right.
How does
So if in the background you are having, I don't want to give up my fried chicken, but you're following some plan that someone outside of you gave you, I never recommend that.
Okay.
You're following someone else's plan. The way that looks is you'll follow it until you have a stressful day at work. You have a flat tire. Because your why is, okay, just numbers. Numbers in the moment are never enough. It has to be your life, and so you will sabotage your progress because really your true feeling, and I talk about being faithful to your true self. Your true feeling is this is deprivation to not have this chicken. And so when you're hurting from a stressful day or argument with a spouse or whatever, you want comfort. And so then you will, in that moment, sabotage yourself.
And so you mentioned true self. What is that true self that you're referring to?
The true self is what you know God is calling you to do. It's that voice that whispers, but you keep saying, oh, now's not the time, or I'm too old, or I don't have the money, or it's too late, or I've tried too many times, or this is just not for me, or maybe girls like me this doesn't happen for them. All that chatter that we do to try to suppress that truth when really all of our provision is in being faithful to our true self.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Okay,
Mhm.
so now you're working with me and I'm starting to shift my thoughts.
Correct.
Then what does that lead to?
And so then we would create, if we're specifically working on weight, then we create what I call your freedom plan.
Oh,
So I believe that your body is amazing.
Mhm.
And there's no way that somebody out here knows what every single body is supposed to eat.
That's true.
And so I first of all, I take you through a class where I talk about sugar and flour and how that lights up parts of the brain. That whole, you can't eat just one, we're programmed to not eat just one.
Ah,
So that's just not accidental when you say, I don't know why I couldn't stop myself.
Yeah.
No, that's intentional. Yeah, my background's chemical engineering, and what I know is that the food industry hired a lot of engineers from the tobacco industry. So the same addictive properties of nicotine are in some of the properties of our food. So I give my clients education of what will make you just not be able to stop, but then I really direct them to listen to themselves and create their plan. They have to write it out 24 hours in advance, but it's their freedom plan because that's what they will experience in their body is freedom when you are faithful to you.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And that's very different than let me lose weight.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Because like you said, it's a deeper reason.
It's a deeper
why.
reason.
It's not tied to a number, which is that number sometimes just an arbitrary number. Like how did I come up with 20?
How did I come up with 20? And usually it's from a place of condemnation. That I feel like I'm overweight or the doctor told me this, but I invite my women to come from a place of love. That this is the temple where the Holy Spirit resides. So don't you want to care for it?
Yes. Makes sense. Oh my goodness. Cleaver, this is absolutely amazing. And so we're going to continue this conversation right after these messages. Hello and welcome back to Talk Your Business with Beverly. And so before the break, we were speaking with Cleedra. Cleedra is a master life coach. And so she was using her analogy with the tree. Just as a life coach, her goal is to get to the root cause. Get to the root cause that will allow for us, let me make sure I'm tracking correctly. So as we get to the root cause, that will impact my thoughts.
That's right.
Which will then impact my
Feelings.
My feelings. Okay.
Your body.
My body.
Inside
Okay.
your body.
Okay.
How you feel.
There we go. And then that's what to then cause me to take different action.
Exactly. Action inspired from a feeling that supports you.
Okay.
Yes.
And then from that, I should then see different results.
The fruits. That's right. Your fruit is what you want.
Yes. And so you do, in education, we call it backwards design. But you said when they first come to you, you ask them what is it that they want.
Absolutely.
So then, do you notice some of your clients, by the time they get through this process, what they said they wanted at the beginning looks different than what they end up?
100% of the time. 100% of the time. 100% of the time, because really they wanted that result because of how they thought it would make them feel. But when I showed them that it was always their thoughts that made them feel that way, whether it was they felt so bad about their weight, it's because of what they were telling themselves. You know, I want you to love yourself no matter the weight. Unconditional.
Yes. That makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. So then, Cleedra, so as they're working with you, we've now changed our thoughts, we've changed our actions, that's now, impacted, and we have the fruits here. So for your people, as they're going through this process, going through this journey, how do you keep them from the judgment or the condemnation side? Because we've been, like you said, programmed for so long. So how do you address that with them?
Well, because over time they are really more in tune with feeling. Because so many of us as women, we have been taught to avoid our feelings, or we eat as soon as we feel bad. But after working with me, they know how to experience the negative feelings without the sabotage. And so you instantly know when you're in judgment because it doesn't feel good.
There we go. And so you just said something key because you said that as women we're not in touch with our feelings, but I thought we were and the men weren't. Like, kind of break that down.
So when I say in touch with our true feelings,
there we go.
It's a thought that we have adopted that we need to be fixed, or we need to be married, or we need to be a certain number, not realizing that the fullness of any season of our life is based on what we think about that season. Period. It's always what we think.
And so you're not saying that we don't have a true desire to be married or to have kids. Those are true.
Those are true.
Okay.
Those
okay.
are true. Absolutely. Like
Okay.
I knew that I was a wife, and God makes you a wife.
Mhm.
A man doesn't make you a wife. He finds a wife.
Mm,
And
okay.
so,
Mhm.
yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. So then you're saying the desire is there. There's nothing wrong with that.
Totally.
Okay.
You want to have that desire.
Okay.
You want to have that desire. But on the process to getting it, you don't want to beat yourself up because of the challenges that are inevitable.
Mhm.
On the way to any goal, you're going to have some deviations.
Gotcha. Okay. And so those that have that guilt, hey, I want to have the kids. I don't have the kids now. I found out I can't have kids or whatever. You allow them to work through that and show them how to work through that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And so you touched on this just a little bit, but I want to circle back to this
Okay.
because there are tons of life coaches out there.
Yes.
So for you, what do you feel like makes you different as a life coach?
What the thought tree
Mhm.
makes me different, and I allow my women to ultimately know to use this tool to coach themselves.
Mhm.
They're not going to be hooked on me. They're going to be so in touch with themselves that they're able to create the thought tree over and over and over again in their life.
That makes sense. And then your background as well.
Chemical engineering, yes. And so I use neuroscience, engineering, all those things to really show them themselves, their brain, their mind.
So I hear Cletus saying, don't come to me for a Band-Aid. You're going to...
We're going to get to the root, and you're going to really enjoy it. That's the true freedom.
Mhm. And that's the
freedom.
thing. I love that. And so, for that woman that's, maybe watching right now, and she feels like literally her life is falling apart around her. So whether or not it's a relationship that didn't work or a job that may not be there, like what would you say to her in this moment right now to kind of get her to see, as you said, that it's not the end of the world, but what would you say to her in this moment?
I would say there's always reason to have hope. And the fact that you still have life, there's still another chapter for you. Look at this as a chapter. I'm not diminishing that it's a painful chapter, but know that you have what it takes or you wouldn't still be here. We are never extended life beyond purpose. You still have something that is big just for you.
I love that. And so that was a key word because even with, they come to me, I'll come to you for the weight thing, but you mentioned the word purpose. For your people, do you realize that they end up finding out something way bigger in this process than they even imagine?
Exactly. Once they get beneath all the adopted thoughts and all the self-loathing and condemnation, they see that there's something incredible that God had the entire time, and that it all, step by step, has strengthened them for what they're ultimately supposed to do.
I love that. I love it. I love it. And so for you, what is one misconception that people have when it comes to a life coach?
For me, the misconception is that I'm going to give you workout plans and meal plans, and that, that's all we're going to talk about is how much you weigh, and that it's, all life coaches are not created equal. I would just say that.
Okay.
I have put a lot of time into this, and it is my passion, it's my call, and that's very different, and I've lived it. And so that is the misconception that it's going to be just, let's do some positive affirmations, and let's think positive. And I actually don't subscribe to the positive thinking psychology.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yes.
Okay, elaborate a little bit more on that.
Because everything isn't positive. When I was going through my divorce and I lost my baby, it really challenged me that people would say, well, look at the upside.
Oh.
I never say that to women. Sometimes in the moment, it is challenging to find the upside. What I say is to look at it in the way it is.
And then go from there.
And then let's see what fruit we want to create as a result. But to try to be positive all the time, I think has caused a lot of suffering. Because then you think something's wrong with you because you can't find it in yourself to be positive.
Wow. And then once you get that condemnation,
I need to be fixed, I need a pill, I need a pancake, or something to make me feel better.
And so, please, believe it or not, we are running out of time.
Oh,
so absolutely amazing. And so just let my viewers know how they can find out more information about you. So your email, your website, your social media handles.
It's very simple. Everything is Cledra, CLEDRA.com.
Awesome, awesome. And once again, Cledra, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we want to thank you as well, the viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, as entrepreneurs, you want to ensure that you're taking care of your business, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, and relationship needs as well. Until next time, take care.